Now, what we started, thank you for that. We started this, the introduction in this conversation, talking about Athanasius and his importance in defending orthodoxy. Tell us what you know. Tell us why we should know his writings, like on the Incarnation. Tell us about Saint Athanasius.
Sure. I mean, I know there's people who get their PhD in St. Athanasius, but I would just like to share some highlights of, for me personally, why he's close to me personally, and specifically the Coptic Orthodox Church. So he was born around the year 298 AD, and there, due to oral tradition, there is a beautiful story of him as a child where he's playing with some friends. And of course, just like as many kids, like whatever they see, they want to emulate and kind of copy that. So here's some kids playing near a body of water, and they're kind of practicing or trying to copy what they see the priest do as far as baptism is concerned. So here are some kids playing, and they're, dunking each other in the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. And, there's like, oh, that's what the priest does. And they're kind of doing it. And there is a bishop who kind of is watching this unfold with the kids. And this bishop is by the name of Bishop Alexander. And he looks over and he sees the kids doing this. And one of those kids is St. Athanasius himself. And the bishop says, I know this is kids play, but something tugged on his heart for him to realize that this is a valid baptism, that this is the mystery of baptism. This is the sacrament of baptism. And you can see the Holy Spirit working through Bishop Alexander, working through St. Athanasius, even as a kid. So you can even see in his childhood that he was very distinguished. There was something unique about him, that God has appointed him for in a pivotal point in history for the life of the church. And you can kind of see that in his childhood. One aspect I wanted to highlight of kind of what brought St. Athanasius as being one of the heroes of the church is that he fought against a heresy titled Arianism, which was kind of spreading throughout Egypt by a priest by the name of Arius. And this heresy, in a nutshell, was saying that God is limited, that there is an uncreated God, but his son is created. So in essence, that takes away the divinity of who Jesus is, of him being fully God and fully man. So, I mean, all Christians could agree that this is an integral part for us understanding the Christian worldview. So here is Arius being such an eloquent speaker, being it had the right connections. He was so smart. Like, he would take this heresy and even put it into songs, because we all know that once you take text and add it to music, it's able to penetrate the soul at a deeper level. It's able to go from head to heart. So Arius was taking advantage of that. And but St. Athanasius knew in his heart, man, this is not the fullness of the truth. And he stood up for the truth. And as you mentioned, Odell, earlier, a common saying that came from this tension that existed between Arius and his followers and St. Athanasius is, as the movement of Arianism continued to grow, that people would tell St. Athanasius, listen, St. Athanasius, you're against the majority, you're against the world. And St. Athanasius stood up and says, well, I'm against the world. He stood up for truth. And it didn't matter how many people were following this heresy, that he knew in his heart who the reality of Jesus Christ was.